Lord, I can miss this. Oh Lord, I got issues.
Alright, what's going on, pimps? I'm sure you can tell by the way I sound right now that I'm a little sick, but Kanye just dropped Bully, and while I was listening to it, I noticed some things and I wanted to talk about it. So I've sort of limited my observations to three main topics, which are the video, the lyrics, and then the instrumental. And we'll be starting off with the
She doing it right to keep me up. Stay the night, but it's never enough.
Now, in the video, it's a kid, a child, if you will, kind of putting his all out there. He's doing the combined nipple twist, liver shot, and stubbing your toe to a bunch of grown men in a like wrestling match in a void, basically. The only metaphor that I could possibly think of for that could be like a bully, like he's bullying these wrestlers. I don't know if it would be that straightforward or if that really even has anything to do with the title of like the album, I guess this is, but that's like the first thing I noticed. And before we even get to that, in the intro, before we even get to the kid basically grown manning a bunch of grown men, in katakana at the beginning of the video is bully in Japanese. So I don't know why it was Japanese or why that was necessary. Not that it necessarily needs to be like a reason, maybe you just wanted to do it. But yeah, that's what that says if you didn't already know. Last thing is that at the end of the video, album, whatever, is the sound, it's like slowed down and I think technically distorted as well, of the kid basically beating a man to death with a hammer on video. And yeah, it's just the sound of the kid hitting the wrestler with a little toy hammer. I don't really correlate this with any meaning necessarily. I think it's just something that he did. Next, I want to get into the
When this your life? Yeah, but yeah, me.
So for the instrumentals, I got four main points really. One is that the instrumentals are great. The samples are awesome. I'm sure I'm gonna start the video off with this, but the one beer sample from MF Doom. Oh my god, I feel like I've already disrespected him by having to stutter to remember his name. But yeah, that was in there and that was really cool. Obviously I know like he sampled it from somewhere else, but you know, I think that's pretty cool. I think Kanye and especially MF Doom really have a good taste when it comes to samples, and then like kind of putting them together on a track officially would have been pretty cool to hear, you know? There's also a song that, despite the Japanese at the beginning, is completely in Spanish. Well, not completely, but the majority of the song is in Spanish. I don't know what he said, and after searching around for very briefly, to be completely honest, I can't really find anywhere that says what he said, but I think it's pretty unique and pretty cool, and I like the track as well. The version of Bully that I watched, I'll put it up on the screen, but halfway through it loops back over all the tracks again. I didn't think there was a difference, but I think it's just looped. Beats me. Finally, I want to get into the
I'm outside my body, you right. My tone, showtime.
So there's one song, and I tried Shazamming some of the songs by turning the volume up in my headphones and like shoving my phone in there with Shazam on and just be like, come on, read it. But unfortunately didn't get it, so I don't know if you can't, and the tracks weren't listed in the description of the video either, so I don't really know about that. But there was one song where he's saying, it might have been the background vocals, but it sounds like he's saying this one here is Papa, and what he's actually saying is this one here is Fafa, I think. But the immediate vision that came to my mind is like you're in this freaking police station with a lineup of possible criminals, and you're like being told, all right, which one is your father? And then some little Spanish boy's like, this one here is Papa, and I don't know why, but that's just immediately what came to mind. But in that song there were some more, I think, like serious lyrics that I kind of discerned. First one being lights on showtime and then go in go time. And I feel like it could be some sort of figurative speech for like, he may always feel like he's on, like he's always performing type of deal. And in those kinds of situations, I feel like anybody would kind of be maybe, and I feel like this kind of ties in with like the behavioral part of like what he's been going and doing. Not that it necessarily excuses it, but like if you're always trying to perform and you never just get to let your guard down and be you, it would probably drive you crazy a little bit. But I don't know. He's obviously he's a big like rapper. You know, he's a big celebrity. So with that being the case, if you're always under the watchful eye of the public, especially with all the inflammatory things he's been saying, that might exacerbate the issue. I'm not really sure. That's just kind of the best I got from that. In the same song, there's another lyric or another line. I'm outside my body, you right. I'm outside my body, you right. Obviously, it's not the delivery of it, but dissociative, maybe? That's how he feels. He feels like detached from himself, from life, or something. Which, again, would sort of help explain things, but, and again, that doesn't necessarily excuse anything, but maybe he's trying to say something here. And again, while that doesn't necessarily excuse the things he's done or said, it's an explanation, rather. There was a mention of serotonin and how much he needs it, and I just pulled it up. I got the AI overview right here, so you know we're getting the facts. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter and hormone that plays a crucial role in regulating mood, sleep, appetite, and digestion, and also contributes to wound healing and blood clotting. Of course, I'm pretty sure Kanye has bipolar disorder or something, so maybe that has to do with like a serotonin imbalance, which causes the like problems with regulating your mood. And there's also like sleep, appetite, or well, sleep out of those two being one of the bigger ones, of like if you don't get sleep, you're just gonna go insane or die depending on the length you go without sleep, and I guess like who you are. But that could also be affecting him. Maybe the bipolar thing could tie in to like not getting enough sleep as well, and that's a contributor. There's like appetite and digestion, wound healing and blood clotting. So maybe, and then like there's the wound healing thing. And again, this is just speculation. I'm just talking, just, you know, piecing together what I think these things could mean. But with wound healing, maybe that could be something that he's thinking of when he uses the word serotonin in these verses. And maybe it's like a figurative wound healing, like a mental wound healing. So yeah. So with that all being said, that's kind of my just general analysis on this. I'm a big music fan. I've literally in this past, like, I think it started like last year, I just started listening to a bunch of albums. I've gone through all of Childish Gambino's albums. I went through all of Kanye's. I just finished going through all of Kendrick's albums, and you know, I'm just listening to stuff, man. I listen to stuff all the time, and I'm also thinking about kind of naming these review type deal things, and I sort of did it a while ago with the Tomorrow War. I'm sure none of you know what that movie is. It was one featuring Chris Pratt, and it's like a Back to the Future sci-fi war movie crossover with freaking A Quiet Place. But I'm gonna start naming these Drip or Drown, and from what I listened to, Bully dripped. It did not drown.
We got this new thing called classism. It's racism's cousin. This is what we do to hold people back. This is what we do. And we got this other thing that's also been working for a long time where you don't have to be racist anymore. It's called self-hate. It works on itself. It's like real estate of racism. where just like that, when someone comes up and says something like, I am a god, everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was, a god. I just told you, that's who I think I am. Would it have been better if I had a song that said, I am a nigga? Or if I had a song that said, I'm a gangster? Or if I had a song that said, I am a pimp? All those colors and patinas fit better on a person like me, right? But to say you are a god, especially when you got shipped over to the country that you're in and your last name is a slave owner's. How could you say that? How could you have that mentality?